Well, a few reasons. I kind of saw it as an opportunity to learn something new musically. I started dabbling with viola between my master's and my year when I had a Fulbright at the Royal Academy of Music in London. And yeah, I was a teaching assistant, violin teaching assistant at Encore for my former teachers, David Russell and Linda Cerrone. And I told them, oh, you know, I'm playing a little bit of viola. You can put me in some of the kiddie groups at Encore because I can't read the clef. But of course that didn't happen, and I ended up playing like the Shostakovich Eighth Quartet and Barber Quartet, which has big viola parts. And it just seemed to work, so I decided to pursue that next year, doing a master's in viola performance.
Well, I actually had the privilege of being present at her transformation from violinist to violist. And it seemed to me that she had truly found her sound with a viola in her hand. And I've watched her grow since then. Not that I'm so much older than she, of course, but we were colleagues, and we played in school together. We were actually in the same school together, so I knew her abilities quite well. And I was extremely impressed with her solo viola performances. And when the idea came to actually perform the music by Quincy Porter, I thought, this is absolutely a perfect opportunity to work together. We've been looking for something like this for quite a while to do, and this seemed to be absolutely the right project.
John has been on me for the past 9 years to make a recording because he's done several, and he just raved about the whole process of it, just kept saying, you should do this, you should do this. So finally I got around to doing it. But of course I was thinking, well, gee, what would I want to record? And, you know, I thought, well, one could do Hindemith, or one could do maybe the Brahms sonatas, but you know, there are lots of people who do that, so I wanted to do something, explore something new. And in that exploration, I've come to see that there's quite a bit of viola music out there that is incredible and fantastic music that no one's playing. And Porter sort of fits in that. I also wanted to do a recording of, or a CD with just one composer. So I was also looking for a body of work that could fill a CD, and Porter fit that perfectly. I also like the variety of it. There's a chamber music aspect. It's not just, you know, solo viola, viola piano. There's the duos of the, you know, violin, viola, and the harpsichord viola duos, which, you know, I love working with people, so that's always great. You always learn more.
I thought this was a terrific opportunity to see what I could do with this music and with these different aspects, you know, of my skills. So it's been quite a challenge because it's a very different mindset to play the violin and then to switch to a harpsichord. It's literally night and day. And then to get in front of the orchestra, they're completely different skills. So it really was, it was a kind of, it was a dance for me to wear these different hats and to do them competently. But I have to thank Eliesha, who had confidence in my being able to carry it off. So, and I hope that the results will speak for themselves. He's not a composer who specializes in Americana. There is no Billy the Kid or Appalachian Spring in his oeuvre. He is a composer who seems to delight in the play of the mind. You know, the composer is sort of like John Alden Carpenter, in that his music seems to reflect completely abstract states of mind. It's completely linear in concept, and yet still remains highly expressive. Without resort to folk tune or whatnot, he still manages to craft a sound which can be identified by anyone as being American.
Well, also when you look at his interests, he loved, he loved old music, and he was a fantastic theoretician of music. So, he taught theory. He really knew how things were put together. And especially with older music, a lot of it is about that linear, the long, very long lines. You'll see that in the music.
The formal aspects, yeah.
Exactly, the formal aspects. But yeah, you have very long lines, and I think his music is very singing because a lot of it is stepwise, and it follows, has a definite shape.
Yeah. The melisma is not centered around the usual 4 or 6 or 8 bar phrases. It's almost a never-ending line that you can always identify through every single piece. One thing I found quite interesting about Porter in his writing of the concerto is in the orchestration and the solutions he found to allow the viola to speak above the orchestra. It seemed that no matter what was going on, it was possible to hear the viola at all times, which is not easy to do, the viola being a mid-range instrument. And he found a unique solution that's quite different from some others. There have been some composers who've written concertos, say for violin, in which they altered the orchestration, the instrumentation rather, to allow the violin to speak. I think of perhaps Roger Sessions and Erno von Dohnányi, who both wrote concertos for violin and orchestra, in which the orchestra actually features no violins, only violas, cellos, basses for the strings, and of course the complement of winds and brasses. But Porter has found a way to separate the registers of the orchestra to allow the viola to slip in and to always be heard no matter where you are on the instrument, low or high.
Yeah, I think he's great at doing that, and also with different, as you mentioned before, instruments of like a tuba and a piccolo together with a viola. That gives a very interesting and unique sound. Yeah, he does a great job, I think, with using the full orchestra, and especially what he does with the percussion instruments, also with the tam-tam and the cymbals, just really fantastic colors.
One unique thing about the concerto also I found is a connection it may have with the Brahms piano concertos. It's one of the most unusual things to find a concerto, much less a concerto for viola, that's actually in 4 movements instead of the accepted 3 with the the usual fast, slow, fast layout.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, I kind of, before I really analyzed it and thought about it, I did think of it in 3 movements because the first movement is so rhapsodic and lyrical and sort of just free thought. And then when you get to that fast section, it's like, oh, that was just an introduction, but it's not actually. And that fast section that comes is then elided into the 3rd movement.
It's literally a scherzo.
Yeah.
It's a scherzo
yeah,
movement.
Yeah.
Yes.